Hey guys, Andrew here for DemoBits. Welcome back. This is our part 2 investigation into the QuadrigaCX debacle. A lot of money at stake. I'm going to do a quick recap of the situation, followed by an overview of the court filings that Jennifer Robertson has been submitting this past week. And at the end, there's some quite interesting bit of information that I've uncovered that I can't wait to share with you guys. So please go ahead and subscribe for more updates. To get you back up to speed, what happened, it was that on January 14th, 2019, we had the company announced that their CEO and founder Gerald Cotton had died on December 9th of 2018 from Crohn's disease in India. Yeah, sketch. Either way, from that date, withdrawals from fiat and crypto were not really going through. People were not able to get money off the exchange. And then on January 28th, the site went down. January 28th was the day that I released my first video, the part 1. The site actually went down 2 hours after. This is the error message that people were receiving telling us that the site went down for maintenance reasons. This was obviously false. We knew there was a lot of troubles with the company. We knew that there were financial issues pertaining to Quadriga and its holding company QuadrigaCX. So if you want more information, you're kind of new to the issue, go ahead and click the link below. I'm going to put a link to my first video that'll let you know everything that happened up to that date of January 28th. For everyone that has been following, I'm going to go through the developments since January 28th, see what else is new and where we're at today. So let's get right in it. As most of you might be aware, there was a petition to the Supreme Court of British Columbia on behalf of Jennifer, the wife of Gerald Cotton, to appoint new directors. If we do a quick search for Quadriga on the Justice website of British Columbia, we find all documents pertaining to the case that have been deposited on behalf of Quadriga. Gerald Cotton versus Quadriga. There's a few documents that were deposited. There's a little $6 fee if you want to look at all the documents, and then each other document will cost you $6. I do have access to a few of the documents. This is the file summary report. We do see that Jennifer Robertson is the executor of the estate of Gerald Cotton. She's petitioning the court to appoint new directors. The document with the most juice on it, I would say, would be with this one here, which is the petition to the court. If we look at the deposit date, it was deposited on January 22nd. Don't forget, Gerry died on December 9th. That is quite a long period, almost 2 months for her to take action on this. Don't forget, we have millions of dollars at stake and hundreds of thousands of users that are waiting for their money. This is not just a regular matter of someone dying and dealing with the paperwork. This is much bigger than that. In my opinion, almost 2 months to wait for actually taking action legally is way too much. From January 14th to January 28th, everyone was stressed and worried about not being able to withdraw money from the exchange, not knowing what was happening, getting no update from the team. Since then, well, we do have this deposit, and if we look at it, she asks to appoint executives to the company that can actually manage the company. She claims she has no skill for managing this company. She does not have any pertinent information to the operations of the company and how it works and how it should work and what should be done from here. So what she's looking to do with this document is ask the court to have a meeting, appoint people that will be more competent in managing the company and taking action with whatever problem is at hand. If we look here, we see the address of the lawyer that she consulted with, Camfiorante Matthews Mogerman, and his address is on Homer Street. Homer Street, if you recall, actually one of the addresses that was linked to Quadriga Fintech Solutions, the holding company of QuadrigaCX. Not the same street number, but the same street. Quite close. Quadriga Fintech Solutions is a corporation incorporated under the Business Corporation Act SBC 2002 C57 and has a registered records office of 1500 409 Granville Street, Vancouver, BC. Guys, we did a whole video. We discovered 7 or 8 different addresses last time on Quadriga that pertaining to Quadriga and other companies. On the Quadriga Fintech Solution website, there were 2 different addresses, and none of the addresses that we uncovered were this Granville Street address. Again, a completely new address throws itself in the mix. It's quite confusing. We're never too sure what the actual address of Quadriga Fintech Solutions are. Now, I won't go through all this document, but I will just go through a few highlights. Again, the link will be in the description below if you want access to this document and read it for free. So if we look at item 3B here, it states the notice requirement for the meeting as required in the articles of QFS, which is Quadriga Fintech Solutions, shall be varied as the petitioner shall distribute the notice of meeting before Wednesday, January 23rd, to be delivered by courier. The address of the shareholders who continue to have a legal beneficiary interest in QFS are set to the last available shareholder registry noted on November 30th, 2015. A nice point to note here, there has been no other shareholder meeting since November 30th, 2015. Yet right now we're in 2019. Kind of strange. We see mention of Lovie and Crypto Consulting Limited. We'll go a little bit further down. We'll get back to these two entities and see who they are. In point 16 and 70, we see that the petitioner, which is Jennifer, has obtained a copy of Quadriga Fintech Solutions shareholder registry, which confirms that Gerald Cotton held 16.8 million shares worth approximately 43% of the issued shares of the company. At point 17, we see the next largest shareholder with 4.2 million shares, equalizing approximately 11%, is Lovie, who is the partner of the co-founder of the exchange QuadrigaCX and Quadriga Fintech Solutions, Mike Patryn. Mike Patryn is actually also the sole director of Crypto Consulting Group Limited. These two families own more than 50% of the shares of the company. Together as CCG bought most of the outstanding shares. Point 20, Mr. Patryn has advised the petitioner that Crypto Consulting Group has purchased the beneficial interest of many of the remaining shareholders of Quadriga Fintech Solutions, but the legal title has not been transferred as there is an outstanding cease trade order against Quadriga Fintech Solutions. So he has purchased interest in the shares, but it's not yet executed, the transfer. Either way, with Lovie, who has 11% stake, and Jenn, who now has 43% stake, they own more than 50% of the shares and can take action. So we see that Crypto Consulting Group is simply a company owned by the co-founder of Quadriga Fintech Solutions, Mike, but his wife does have quite an important stake in the company, yet I don't believe she has much of a crypto background. If we do a little bit of a background search on her, basic search in Bloomberg, we find that she was put on as Vice President of Business Development at Quadriga Fintech Solutions on February 5th, 2015. Before that, she worked as a fashion merchandiser for Bentley Group. She was also a costume designer, University of British Columbia Opera, and designer and operator at Love's. So she comes from a design background, and same thing with her schooling. She went to LaSalle College, which as far as I'm aware is in Montreal, which is a trade school to learn things like design, fashion, and art. So no real background in business administration, crypto, or blockchain, or any of that. But it seems like she was just given a bit of the ownership of the company, maybe to avoid some spotlight on other people. I'm just speculating here. But so that point that said that the last shareholder meeting was held in 2015. If we look here, we have a release from February 29th, 2016 that states Quadriga Fintech Solutions Corp, the company, announces that Anthony Milewski and Lovie have resigned as directors of the company effective immediately. That was quite a short stay, only 1 year, and she still holds 11% of the company. But what happened in 2016 that made these directors resign? The main event of 2016 was Gerry actually tried to do an IPO for this company. He wanted to make it public. Quadriga Fintech Solutions, which held QuadrigaCX, the exchange that we all dealt with. Unfortunately, that IPO did not go through. There was a lot of issues with regulators as per the structure of the company, the ownership of the company. So after that event, everyone quit the company. The only person left was Gerry Cotton. The only person left actually maintaining the QuadrigaCX website was Alex Haynen, who was not an employee but a contractor for Quadriga. And we saw him on our last bit on LinkedIn. He is still linked to the company. He is a consultant based in UK who did all the programming, who built the QCX website, and who still does the upkeep, the maintenance. So currently we have a different update on the website. If we go back to our website, we see that January 31st, 2019, your customers, an application for creditor protection in accordance with the company's Creditor Arrangement Act was filed today in the Nova Scotia Supreme Court. When we had the petition in the court to appoint new directors from Jennifer Robertson, there was a lot of optimism in the community, people saying that she was trying to do the right thing, that she was now trying to get the company back on track because Gerry was gone, and she wanted to get people their money back, get the exchange up, back and running. I think this was way too optimistic in my point of view. That was the first step into the transformation and probably the liquidation of the company, as I'm sure we'll see in the coming weeks and months. Either way, the message was changed, and now the company is filing for creditor protection. That means the company is protected from any lawsuits as the company rearranges its affairs and finds what the actual financial liabilities and values that it has are. That protection lasts for 30 days and can be extended after that. So I think this is something that we really need to follow closely, guys. The first hearing, as it says here, will be on February the 5th. I'm filming this on the 4th, so there will be a bit of an update when you see this video. If we continue reading, for the past weeks we have worked extensively to address our liquidity issues, which include attempting to locate and secure our very significant cryptocurrency reserves held in crypto wallets, and that are required to satisfy customer cryptocurrency balances on deposit, as well as sourcing a financial institution to accept bank drafts that are to be transferred to us. Unfortunately, these efforts have not been successful. Further updates will be issued after the hearing. Long story short, they can't find the cryptocurrency that they have been storing in cold wallets. There's also a little issue with the bank draft, which was about $26 million, a bank draft from the Supreme Court of BC. But that bank draft is with BillerFi. I did email BillerFi. They did send me a reply 30 minutes after I sent that email that completely ignored all the multiple questions that I asked them and gave me what seemed like a standard answer, saying that the money was still safe and that they were waiting for any updates on the case pertaining to Quadriga. Now, there were some other Reddit users that also posted the exact same response, so I do think that this was an automated response for any emails that they get coming with questions from Quadriga. If we look at this article from CoinDesk, we do see an important fact here. Cotton in turn spoke to Quadriga's securities strengths, noting that the exchange uses multi-signature cold storage to secure Bitcoin holdings. Fiat holdings, he continued, are held at specified Canadian financial institutions. This is a very important fact here because let's not forget, QuadrigaCX is a very large exchange that had over 300,000 users, moved millions of dollars, and held all of those dollars mainly in crypto, right? That value was in crypto. So what a normal institution of that size does is uses multi-sig wallets, which Gerry admitted they did. But if we go back to our statement from the QuadrigaCX team, the current team, they say that they're unable to access the cold storage wallets. Usually a multi-sig structure will be a two to three, let's say, structure where you have 3 keys that can unlock a wallet. 2 of them are necessary to do any transactions. So usually you'll have a CEO or founder that will have 1 key, a co-founder or a confidant that will have a 2nd key, and maybe a 3rd key you'll keep in a safety deposit box in case you need another key. Someone died, like this case, can't find one of the keys that someone owned. So with only 2 of those keys, usually you can access the funds. It appears here that there's no multi-sig wallet because no one knows of any other keys except the ones that Gerry had, although Gerry admitted that he was using a multi-sig structure in this interview with CoinDesk on February 20th, 2015. There's an awesome post here from one of our Reddit community members who went ahead and tried and backtrack to find the addresses of the LTC cold storage wallets of QuadrigaCX. I'm going to post the description in the link below. You can follow here and find those addresses. There's a lot of interesting information that is very useful to us to get visibility on those addresses, not only for LTC but also for BTC and the other coins, because we want to see if the funds actually move. There's a lot of allegations that Gerry Content is not dead, that Gerry Content is actually still alive and faked his death. Personally, I'm still kind of on the fence, and I do think that this is not a real death, that it's much more complicated than that. But if we have access to those funds, we can at least track them and make sure that no one's actually moving them, because if they do move, that would mean that obviously Gerry's still alive, because Gerry seems like he's the only one that had access to the wallets, right? Again, description in the link below. If we go back here on January 31st, we see that there was the application for CCAA for Quadriga FinTech Solutions, and this is the application to the Supreme Court of Nova Scotia that is mentioned on the website. This one is a really interesting document with a lot of information. If there's one document that you should read between this one and the petition to the court of Jennifer Robertson, this is the one. This has a lot of useful information, and I'm going to go over some key elements but I do suggest you take a deep read into it. It's not that long and it's very interesting. So if we start, we see at point 5, we read the operating company. It's a number company doing business as QuadrigaCX and Quadriga Coin Exchange. Quadriga is 100% owned subsidiary of Whitesale Capital Corporation. First time we see that name. I think we need to do a bit of investigating on them. Quadriga Fintech Solution Corp, that we'll call Fintech, is the 100% parent of Whiteside Capital Corporation, which we'll call Whiteside, and a reporting issuer in British Columbia. I'm advised the council to believe that Fintech is still considered a reporting issuer in that province. A bit of a nested structure. We see that QuadrigaCX is a subsidiary of Whiteside Capital Corp, which in turn is owned by Quadriga Fintech Solutions. It's the first time I've seen this company, Whiteside Capital Corp, and I think we're going to have to find out a bit more information on them. If we continue reading though, we see at point 16 what I was talking about before. Gerry was a sole director and officer of Fintech, and he held 16.8 million of the 40.7 about million outstanding shares of Fintech. Since 2015, Fintech has been a reporting company when Gerry and his co-founder Mike Patryn hoped to make the publicly traded company. This is where we see that confirmation that in late 2015, 2016, they tried to make Quadriga Fintech Solution a publicly traded corporation, but that failed. This did not happen. In early 2016, all of the other directors of Fintech resigned, although Gerry remained as a director, the only director. Around the same time period, British Columbia Securities Commission issued a cease trade order in connection with Fintech shares. I am advised by counsel for the companies and do not believe that the cease trade order was issued for failure to file disclosure documents such as financial statements. Cease trade order that we were talking about in the other document, where the co-founder and his company were not able to purchase all the shares because of that cease trade order. What the reason is, we don't really have visibility on that within this article, but it's definitely not something clean. So next, if we go to point 24K, we see another interesting bit of information. The database would keep track, and the database that we're talking about here is the QuadrigaCX database that Mr. Alex Hannon was maintaining. The database would keep track of users, and there are currently approximately 363,000 registered users in the Quadriga database. Now we have a real visibility of the size of this company. It's about 1% of the whole Canadian population when you think about it. As a date of filing this affidavit, approximately 115,000 users, the affected users of the Quadriga website, held balances in their personal accounts representing obligations payable by Quadriga to the affected users in the form of I. Cash obligations, or B. Obligations to hold cryptocurrency units on their behalf. An interesting thing here is this whole affidavit, as we'll go through it, you'll see there's no real mention of quad bucks. This was something that a lot of users were scared of because the wording that's used on the QuadrigaCX website when depositing your money, you're not actually owning any money on their website. You're not owning any Canadian dollars or US dollars. You're owning something called quad bucks, which seems like it was used to dissociate between the money that Quadriga holds on their exchange under your account name and the money that you transferred to them via banking system. If we continue reading, it says Quadriga currently owes its affected users $70 million plus cryptocurrency cumulatively valued based on cryptocurrency market pricing as of December 17th, 2018, at approximately $180 million. The total obligations due to the affected users approximately $250 million. That's what QuadrigaCX owes as of December 17th, 2018. That's a massive sum of money, guys. And there's going to be a lot of visibility on this. Next up, point 40. If we see what it reads, in addition to BuilderFi/Custodian, Quadriga used the services of other payment processors. So if you remember, BuilderFi and Custodian were the two companies owned by Jose Reyes, who processed money on behalf of Quadriga, who managed the actual fiat dollars. Quadriga only added numbers to the system on their database in form of quad bucks. I have been advised by Mr. Matthews, this is Jennifer speaking, and do not believe that he or his company, and Mr. Matthew owns a number company, were holding bank drafts for the payment processor operating through another number company based in BC, is a company controlled by Mr. Matthews. Mr. Matthews is the interim CEO, remember, who was appointed as of January 14th, as of that statement that they released. And then on point 51, Gerry's death certificate. This was a very big argued point, whether Gerry's actually dead, remember, whether he's still alive. There was no body, there was no death certificate. Well, apparently there's now a death certificate attached to this deposition. It reads, Gerry was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at the age of 24. Gerry died in India on December 9th, 2018, arising from complications from the Crohn's disease. Gerry was 30 years... actually, how many people die of Crohn's disease every year? The death rate from people that are affected by Crohn's disease is only 3%. 3%. Anyways, Gerry was 30 years old at the time of his death, which was completely unexpected. Of course, because it's only a 3% death rate. A copy of Gerry's death certificate is attached in Exhibit L. There is a death certificate that is attached. Whether it's real or not, there's always a possibility of it being a forgery. I don't have it to see it. I'm not a professional, but the possibility is always there. Given the circumstances, how everything played out, I personally still have a lot of doubts. As Canadians, stereotypically, we're always kind and forgiving and think that people are doing well and give them the benefit of the doubt. And this is a lot of the comments that I was seeing on social media. People saying, oh, Jenn petitioned the court to appoint new executives. She's doing the right things. Oh, don't worry, guys. We're going to get our money back. Of course, the guy just died, this and that. Seemed quite stereotypical to me of Canadians. But then if you go to point 54, we read, there has been a significant amount of commentary on Reddit and other web-based platforms about the state of Quadriga, Gerry's death, including whether he's really dead, and the missing coins. There have also been threats made against me and Mr. Matthews. Further slanderous comments have been made against me and sent through Facebook Messenger to my entire contact list. Guys, I don't condone this behavior at all, but it's nice to see that Canada is a bit woke and that we're doing something. Point 60. It reads, on Sunday, January 27, 2019, a meeting of directors was held and the same people were appointed as directors of Whiteside and Quadriga. So this is the meeting that was petitioned by Jennifer to the Court of BC. Attached in Exhibit N is a copy of the minutes of directors' meetings held to approve the filings of the application and other related matters. The minutes have been approved by me and Mr. Beasley, but Mr. Martel has not yet signed off on these minutes. So Mr. Beasley and Mr. Martel are the two new executives of Quadriga FinTech Solutions and Whiteside. Mr. Beasley is apparently the stepfather of Jennifer, and Mr. Martel does seem to have a background in the Canadian crypto space, which is something else that we should probably look into. If we skip that though and go to a further point, on point 62, it reads, the laptop computer which Gerry carried out the company's business is encrypted and I do not know the password or recovery key. Despite repeated and diligent searches, I have not been able to find them written down anywhere. I have retained an expert, Chris McBrien, inspector retired, who I understand is highly qualified in the area, to assist in recovering any information about the companies and the Quadriga business records. To date, the expert has some limited success in recovering a few coins and some information from Gerry's cell phones and other computers, but not yet from the main computer he used to conduct business. Efforts to recover the business records are ongoing. I don't think he'll be able to just access the wallets, but hopefully he'll find some sort of mnemonic backup phrase or some key written down somewhere in an Evernote that will allow us to access the funds and allow the court to access the funds and distribute the funds to whoever was rightful owners. Number 68, we do see that Jenn says she has learned from Mr. Heynen, which is the programmer, remember, since Gerry's death, that Gerry made a comment about securing Quadriga cryptocurrency on other exchanges. Investigations into such transactions and holding locations are ongoing. So apparently Mr. Heynen had a conversation with Gerry at some point where Gerry said that he used other crypto exchanges to store some of Quadriga's coins and maybe even fiat. So I think this is a really important point because there's no real information here except an anecdotal conversation from Mr. Hannon. But what could these other exchanges be? Let's put a pin in this one. We're going to get back to it, guys. Point 68. Remember this, and we will get back to this one. Then on point 70, we read, I am advised by Mr. Hannon and do believe that funds are being held by an organization, WB21, that belongs to Quadriga. Mr. Hannon advises that WB21 acted similar to third-party payment processors in that it would accept and send wires on behalf of Quadriga. Mr. Hannon indicates that WB21 is holding almost $9 million and $2.3 million US on behalf of Quadriga, but is refusing to release the funds to or respond to communications from Quadriga. WB21. I've never heard of this one. We never heard of it in the court hearings with the CIBC issue. We only heard of Custodian and Billify. WB21 is an abroad company, I believe, based in Europe somewhere. If we look at its website, pay with your Visa card in stores online worldwide. If you do a little search, you will find that they do have a questionable background. Lawsuit and scam accusations plague fintech firm WB21. If we read here that WB21 and its tech for informational payments was just a circumvention of regulations designed to disguise the client's identities. The SEC also says that Gastor, who is the owner and CEO of WB21, repeatedly lied to banks and made a series of false claims in dealing with various organizations. Not off to a good start. Another interesting thing, sources that say two firms are owed $2 million via WB21's money transfer service. Firms that are owed money but not being paid back. That same source says WB21 is withholding funds from them with no explanation or contact whatsoever. Transfers from WB21 to third parties have not been executed. Impossible to withdraw funds from WB21 account. Scam, scam, scam. But an important fact to note is that they are not a bank. They're not registered as a bank. They don't have any banking license in any country. They're simply a money-moving business. If we look at reviews, 2 stars out of 5 on Trustpilot. A lot of reviews of people saying that they cannot access their money. Where is my money? Again, long reviews with a lot of information here. These are definitely real reviews. And if we look at the positive reviews, they're pretty much one-liners. Possibly or most likely fake reviews. Very bad bank. Beware of WB21. People that seem to have a lot of bad experience with them. Their main purpose, though, seems to just move money abroad. And then the last point that I want to talk about is number 76. It reads, in the past week or two, Quadriga has been approached by multiple parties expressing interest in the operating platform, which could potentially lead to value being realized for the benefit of Quadriga's creditors, including the affected creditors, which are everyone that had money on the exchange. Based on their inquiries, we believe Quadriga's trading platform may have significant value. Such value will undoubtedly be threatened if legal actions are commenced against Quadriga by its users. Jenn here is saying that she's a bit scared that people commence legal action against Quadriga, claiming they want their funds back, claiming Quadriga is not doing correct business or whatever it may be, because she thinks it may affect the value of the technology that Quadriga has, of whatever Alex Hannon programmed. She's claiming that this technology, this exchange, can potentially be sold to help pay back investors. I don't think this is anywhere near what investors are owed, anywhere near the $250 million. Took Alex Hannon probably a few months to program this website, and I don't think this is a claim that should be taken seriously. I wonder if she's trying to avoid legal action or if she actually believes that the platform has that much value in it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I don't really think the platform has all that much value. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in 2017, QuadrigaCX was using a bank based in British Columbia. Any deposits that you made to the exchange would have to be deposited to an address that they gave you that was in British Columbia, in Canada, which seemed 100% legit. At some point at the end of summer 2017, fall 2017, they changed the deposit address to some bank in Poland. This is a bit of a surprise to everyone. They changed the address, I believe, twice, 2 different Polish banks. There was some reports of people dealing with a German bank at some point. I haven't seen those ones by my own eyes. And to add to that, the bank that they requested the funds be sent to, as I said, was in Poland, but the beneficiary was actually in Hong Kong. So people were sending money to a bank in Poland, yet to a beneficiary in Hong Kong. This was a bit of a weird situation that banks didn't really want to deal with. And if we look at one report from a customer, He was claiming that his bank, which was Scotia Bank, did not want to execute that transfer. They did not want to execute the transfer because the beneficiary wasn't in the same country as the bank. There was a reply from Quadriga on this forum that said pretty much the banks are allowed to do it. It depends on how educated the teller is. So being kind of cocky here, laughing at Scotia Bank, when obviously that's not the problem. The problem is Quadriga's layout, their bank layout, why they're actually receiving money in a bank in Poland but with a beneficiary in Hong Kong. Either way, they said contact support and we'll give you another bank address. Further down here, we see that a bank in Georgia was provided to this user, not Georgia the state in the US, but Georgia the country. So multiple banks used abroad starting mid-2017. That's when things started to get a bit fishy. If we go to this Reddit post here, we see that the bank that was being used in Poland was Bank Spółdzielski, something like that. I tried. And we see their address and information with their SWIFT code. This user was complaining about a problem with the SWIFT code, using this was not the correct SWIFT code. In fact, it was this one. So if we do a bit of investigating on this bank, we see that there's an interesting article here that was not talking about QuadrigaCX, but in fact it was talking about Bitfinex. Bitfinex, who also started doing business with this bank. The title was Bitfinex reveals a new Polish bank account under a Panama registry company. The tiny bank apparently had assets of around 13 million in 2011, according to Wikipedia, making profits of around 5 million. Sums Bitfinex handles in around 1 hour. This had nothing to do with the type of money that Bitfinex was moving through this bank. Bitfinex was using the same bank that Quadriga was using in 2017. Remember, Bank of Spółdzielski. If we go back here, Bank of Spółdzielski, W skim something. You can pause frame and read those, they're the same names. Either way, if we continue reading, you can also see that the account is under the name of CryptoSPZU, which stands for Limited Company in Poland. If we zoom in here, we see CryptoSPZU. And another company that was doing business was CCAA, also fishy, using the same bank information as Bitfinex and Quadriga. CryptoSPZU is owned by CryptoCapital Corp. Now this is an important company, guys, because remember when we were talking about point 68 back on our affidavit from Jennifer Robertson saying that some other crypto exchange was maybe holding funds according to Alex Hannon? CryptoCapital Corp might be that bank. CryptoCapital Corp here is the owner of CryptoSPZU, owned by CryptoCapital Corp. We zoom back out, and CryptoCapital Corp and the director of CryptoCapital Corp and CryptoSP is a person named Ivan Manuel Molina Lee. He appears to be an accountant of sorts or consultant. Now this name we see multiple places. If we continue reading, it seems that he lends his name for a fee. We also think that he is director of many companies based in Panama, suggesting that he is simply a filler. This person has no relation to CryptoCapital Corp or any of these hundreds of companies that he is nominated as director of. These are only a little few examples of companies listed in Panama. So if you think back a few years ago to Panama Papers, we heard of this, of a lot of companies using one nominee director that was not a real person, someone that would just lend his name for a fee to de-link the company responsibility, the company and its responsibilities for whatever action it takes versus its owner. This is a very, very shady practice, guys, executed by this company, CryptoCapital Corp. And if we continue here, we see there's also a note that says Mt. Gox also used the Polish bank account towards the end. Unfortunately, same thing happened with QuadrigaCX and maybe at some point Bitfinex. The spelling of that bank, though, if we zoom in here, we see the L with a line going across it. Now, if I open a cached page of Quadriga, we see that they used to use that same character for Litecoin. Now, that is Litecoin's symbol, but it's also a letter in the Polish alphabet. So was there an early link between Gerald Cotton and the Polish banks? Was he giving us a little bit of an Easter egg, using this Polish letter as a symbol for Litecoin? But he also used this symbol, which was the letter C from the Greek alphabet, as a symbol for Ethereum. So I guess it wasn't that, but kind of just trying to imitate the Litecoin logo. Now in this other post from Reddit, we have QuadrigaCX here, who seems to admit to one of his Reddit users talking about Valores Hong Kong Limited, which was the beneficiary of the funds of that Polish bank account. QuadrigaCX rep here admitting that for wire transfers we use the international payments company CryptoCapital. So again, point 68, remember point 68, Gerry had some money on some exchange somewhere. He was using another exchange called CryptoCapital. So if you look at CryptoCapital deposit and withdraw fiat funds instantly to any crypto exchange around the world. They're a bit of a link between crypto exchanges. What they actually do is help with liquidity issues at exchanges. Now, QuadrigaCX clearly had liquidity issues since about 2016. Same thing with Bitfinex, and same thing with a few other exchanges that use CryptoCapital services. If we go down, we see a list of companies that are represented by CryptoCapital. We still see the QuadrigaCX logo. We see Coinapult, CEX.io, and Exmo. Both of these bit controversial exchanges, controversial sites that, in my opinion, are also insolvent. They have awful reviews, about 3 stars. Again, same problems as QuadrigaCX. People not being able to withdraw money from the exchange. Will they maybe be the next one to declare insolvency and shut down? I say be careful when you use these exchanges, when you put your money on them. Maybe don't use CEX.io. Coinapult here, if we click, they still function, but they're having some issues on their back end with BTC and Dash. I haven't done an investigation in them, but they admittingly use CryptoCapital. It's on their website. It's there. If we go back down here and continue reading on the mission of CryptoCapital, it says in 2013, CryptoCapital was founded in Panama, out of all countries, of course, to connect the fiat and crypto world together. Any company listed in Panama is listed in Panama for a reason. Continue reading, it says, today CryptoCapital is owned and operated by Global Trade Solutions AG, another one here, shell company, a licensed financial institution in Zug, Switzerland. This is an important name here that we're going to have to remember, Global Trade Solutions AG. Now in that article on that Polish bank that we read earlier, this article was talking about Bitfinex, right? Yet we don't see Bitfinex anymore on the CryptoCapital website. It was there though. If we see this other article called CryptoCapital Co. maybe crypto's black swan, there is a screenshot of the CryptoCapital Co. website from January 29, 2018, and we do see Bitfinex present along with the other companies that use their service. Now, I don't know if Bitfinex still does business with CryptoCapital Corp. Without doing in-depth research regarding Bitfinex and CryptoCapital, again, this is very superficial. There is a post here on Bitfinex's Reddit from a user complaining about issues with CryptoCapital, and this is only 3 months ago, where Bitfinex, someone verified account from Bitfinex, did reply talking that they were having problems with their processor, somewhat admitting that they were still using CryptoCapital. So I don't know if this actually counts as an admission, but I do believe that they still use CryptoCapital Corp to process their transactions, amongst other companies, I'm sure. But I will look into this a lot more. So QuadrigaCX was not able to surmount its liquidity issues, although it was still using CryptoCapital Corp to help them. CEX.io suffering the same problems, Exmo also. The other one though that disappeared off the list is Bitfinex. Now Bitfinex did surmount their issues seemingly or temporarily because they were quite innovative. Well, they weren't that innovative. They copied our favorite financial manipulators, the government and the central banking system. See, this is what Bitfinex did. Just as what central banks do when there's issues with the economy, they simply print out money and inject it all into the system. Bitfinex printed out a bunch of money called Tether USDT and shipped it out to its users that were requesting money using USDT as a replacement for that cash that users sometimes want to withdraw. Instead of withdrawing money, well, they just kept USDT on the exchange. It had lower fees than doing a trade versus actual USD and withdrawing money. So Bitfinex, quite innovative. They managed to get themselves out of the shitter. We'll see if it continues. Honestly, I think I will do at some point another video on Bitfinex because they have a lot of dodgy elements within their business. And I think that's a whole other video that I should be doing apart. So anyways, for Quadriga, unfortunately, we're still stuck with this message on their website. They're still under CCAA protection. Alright, so that is important that we follow that and we see what happens on February 5th. Don't forget that we are a large community of over 100,000 users that are affected by this Quadriga shutdown. 100,000 people that are owed money. Now, instead of being scattered all over the place, I think it is very valuable that we unite. So I will open a Telegram channel, and I hope that everyone subscribes to that Telegram channel below. This is for us to share whatever pertinent information we find pertaining to QuadrigaCX and all these other shell companies, of this structure that Quadriga seems to have created over the years. There's still a lot of research and a lot of digging to do. So guys, please subscribe to that Telegram channel and share with all your fellow affected users what you are discovering pertaining to Quadriga. The name of the channel will be QuadrigaCX Creditors. Again, the link is below. Share anything you find and follow anything anyone else finds. For anyone who's done their research on Bitcoin, it still definitely remains the safest financial tool out there, much safer than our current banking system, uncensorable, immutable. But the problem with Bitcoin and crypto is all the infrastructure around it is very, very dangerous. This is still the Wild West, okay? We still don't have much regulation, much framework around crypto. So there are a lot of companies that come out with hidden structures, shell companies, and these companies are responsible for taking your hard-earned money, your fiat dollars, your US dollars, Canadian dollars, and transforming them for you into Bitcoin. They are your gateway into that extremely safe atmosphere, but that gateway, unfortunately, is not always that safe. So again, it's very important that you guys do your proper research when entrusting your hard-earned money to some company, even if it's for a 5-minute transfer and you're going to get off that exchange right away. There are users that have transferred money to Quadriga after January 14th that have not been able to withdraw their funds, but their original intention was only to transfer the money to exchange and withdraw, right? But if you don't do your research, you fall in that trap and your money is gone. So very important to stay up to date with whatever exchange that you're dealing with. Make sure that they have no outstanding issues, not too much controversy, and make sure that you move small amounts at a time. I will continue covering the QuadrigaCX debacle. I will be doing a part 3 video, so please subscribe to my channel and like if you enjoyed the information that I shared with you guys here. And again, don't forget to join the Telegram chat and share with the community. On that, trade safe.